Hello, fuckers, and welcome to this episode 30 of the Chris Hunter Comedy Podcast with me, Chris Hunter. Hello, how you doing? Are you well? I hope you're well. I've had a good week, I think. I hope you guys have too. Let's chat about it. And now, episode 30. That's crazy to me. I didn't realise this has been going that long. It's a weekly podcast, as you guys probably know. And yeah, I've missed a few. But you know what? I think 30 is a pretty decent number. You never know, whilst we're, if it hit the 100 mark, I might try and do a live one. That'd be cool. But anyway, Charlie made a good point the other day. She said that, do you reckon you could do a podcast on your phone? I was like, yeah, I could do. It wouldn't be as good, but I'm sure I could do that. She said, well, there's no excuse to skip a week if you're on holiday then, is there? So, there's a chance, folks. It's slim, but there's a chance you might be getting a podcast from Tokyo at some point. Which would be insane. But, you know, I'd do that. It's fine. I don't mind doing that. But speaking of the podcast, I got a funny call in work today. And no, I don't mean a cold call. Or somebody tell me that I've got PPI, which I don't have PPI. I'm very clean with my hands. I got a call off my brother, which I answered whilst I was walking past my boss. And rather than saying hello, my brother did my podcasting job by going, hello, fuckers, and then did the whole thing about the week and stuff, which I seem to do every week. It's not intentional, it just happens to be that way. But he did it all, and it was very loud on my phone, and I was just laughing, and I went to the hall and waited for him to finish. But it was awesome. He was calling me to tell me that he's got a fancy new car. Isn't that nice? Well, I say he's got one. I think Lucy's got one, his better half. And he's, you know, piggybacking on it, which is fine. You can do that. You can share. That's fine. But apparently, he's got it fitted, because as you guys probably know, my brother's in a wheelchair, he's Paralympian, and they've got the car fitted so that he can drive it with like hand paddles instead of using pedals. But he hasn't learned to drive yet, so they're getting it ready for when he does learn. And apparently, this sort of type of car is so new that the thing that they've put on the wheel to, you know, give him controls, it doesn't have an indicator function yet because they haven't made that bit yet. So hopefully they'll make it soon so they can get it put on so he can learn to drive, because he's a lazy sod. He's going to get driven around everywhere. And we can't have him being chauffeured and just inflating that big old ego head of his. Not that he's got an ego head, but you know what I mean. But anyway, I've been listening, like whilst I work, I like to have something on the other screen just to keep me company whilst I work, because I can't focus when it's just silence. I don't know why. I've always been that way. So I just have like a live stream or something. Usually it's a video of a live stream, so it's not actually live. It's just one that's been on in the past. But it's nice to it feels like you're sat with friends, you know what I mean? So recently I've been listening to one, you remember last week or the week before, I spoke about some vloggers called Simon and Martina. Lovely people. Well, Simon plays games as well, every now and again. And when Final Fantasy 15 came out, which he'd been waiting to come out for like 10 years, same as me, he played it practically non-stop on the first day, to the point where he played it for 13 and a half hours while streaming it. That is insane. So I listened to that whilst working, and you know what? It took a couple of days, because I just had it on. Obviously, I wasn't going to sit and work for 13 hours and listen. But it was nice to have company, you know, whilst I'm getting some stuff done. And it was just weird. It was weird thinking, he's been sat on that couch for 13 and a half hours. I know when I did that PUBG tournament, I sat exactly where I am now for 7.5 hours, and that was brutal. So I can't imagine almost doubling that, just to, you know, I mean, I love Final Fantasy 15 as well, but I'd like a stop every now and again, have a walk around, you know. He'd only gone for a week, like twice as well, which is insane. But yeah, because he's been playing a lot of Final Fantasy, it's got me in the mood for it. So I know last week I streamed the first episode of the DLC for that game, which I hadn't played yet. And then I've been playing Final Fantasy 3, which I know is an old one, but I wasn't well over the weekend, and so I was just sat on my chair downstairs, and I thought, I want to play Final Fantasy, but I can't be arsed going upstairs and get my PlayStation. So instead, I grabbed whatever I could reach, and what I could reach was my SNES Mini. So I plugged that in, and I played that instead, and that had Final Fantasy 3 on it, which I never played. But I really want to go back and play the old school ones. But you know, because we had this like whole like 8-bit gaming revolution a few years ago, you know, when all those pixelated games came back into fashion. And because of that, these old games don't look awful anymore. They seem quite enjoyable. So I was playing a super pixely old SNES game on a projector. So I'm pretty sure it was never designed to be played that way. It's really weird because each pixel is like a good 2-3 inches wide. Giggity. And it's such a nice game. I'm enjoying it. I'm like, 6 hours in, I think. 8 hours in, and it's only like a 30-hour game, so I'm a good chunk through it. I'm enjoying the hell out of it, and I've been playing one on my phone as well. I don't play mobile games, guys. Anybody who knows me knows I don't play mobile games. But I got one called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, and it's really clever because what they've done is they've made it so that it's fairly straightforward to play. It's not an easy game, it's just easy to play, if that makes sense. And also they've done it so it plays fully in portrait mode, so you don't even need two hands. Like, one of the main problems with a lot of mobile games, right, is that you have to fuck about on the screen. You know, you've got to do all get your hands in the way of the game, and it's just annoying. I don't like mobile games. They just mess me about. But this one is done really well. It uses half the screen is buttons, and you do it in portrait mode in one hand, nice and easy. That's the way all mobile games should be. Speaking of mobile games and mobiles and whatnot, here's a link for you. I was perusing Facebook before, and I saw that it looks like Hamilton. You know, the musical, the fantastic musical that I love and I'm obsessed with and I went to see live. That is finally coming to the cinema at some point by the looks of it. And people thought it was going to come to the cinema as an adaptation, like, you know, an actual film about the story that the play is based on. But no, it's actually the footage of the original cast before they all left. It's being bounced around some publishers at the moment, and people are just deciding who's going to buy it by the looks of it. So that'd be awesome to see. I would love to see that. Plus, the fact that it's already fully recorded and set up means it shouldn't be long. It shouldn't take that long to come out once it's been bought, you know? So as soon as that happens, I'm going to be all over that like a fly on a big old fat turd. So yeah, that's what I've been up to so far. But for now, I need to give you guys a second so we can have a word from our sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Tiggle Biddies, because you're not allowed to say big old titties on a podcast. Alright, now on to the real sponsors. So, do you guys like video games, board games or card games? Do you like geek culture and you want to hang out with people who've got the same kind of passions as you? Well, if you live in St Helens or around about that area, you are in luck, because Barzookoid is a brand new geek and gaming lounge located in St Helens town centre on Clawton Street. They've got everything that your geeky little heart could ever desire. There's games, food, drinks, events, you name it, they've probably got it. So, head on down to Barzookoid and have yourself some fun out of the sun. I got my first review this week for the podcast. I was very happy about that. Because, you know, every week I ask people to drop me a review or a rating or whatever. No one does, and that's fine, you know. I like to know at least one person's listening. And someone left a lovely review, so Johnny, if you're listening, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. And if anybody else wants to leave a review, feel free to drop one on iTunes. I'm sure they would like it very much. You don't have to, no obligation, but it's nice. But anyway, that's not the end of the podcast. I just want to say it. But I have been going back to the gym, even though I was ill over the weekend. I made myself go on Sunday, and I beat my personal best when it comes to how long I can run for. Now, I ran for 10 straight minutes, which I know it's not a lot to some people, but to me, that's a massive deal. 2 weeks ago, I couldn't run for 2 minutes. So the fact that I can now run for 10, I was very happy with that. Next time I go, I'm going to try and beat that again. But we'll see how we get on with that, because there's a good chance it ain't going to work out that way. I'd like it to. I'd like to be able to say I can run for an hour, but I can't. So one day I might be able to. The dream is to be able to comfortably run 5k, because when I go to Japan, if you run around the Imperial Gardens, around the, you know, where the Emperor lives, that's a 5k track, pretty much around that park, and that's what I want to do. Just run around there, have a good old time, not have to stop because I'm completely shagged out. I just want to be able to run around it, look at the duckies, be a happy chappy, and that would just be super nice, super nice. Plus, I want to shift this fat. I want to be a slimmer, sexier Chico Cruz, and you can't do that by just eating burgers and, you know, sweets and shit. So I've been good, been going to the gym, been eating well, apart from Saturdays when it's a complete shit show, but that's the joy of a Saturday. I'll do what the hell I want. And yeah, that's what I've been doing there. And also, I've been keeping up with my Japanese. I'm slowly clawing my way back to trying to get on board with the kanji stuff. I was doing so well when I started. Every day I have to do my reviews, so I'm doing like 30 that I've got to look at from yesterday. I do any couple that have cocked up, and then I do 20 new ones every single day. But I started slipping. I stopped doing the new ones. But recently I've been trying to force myself to claw my way back in. Every single day I'm getting a few new ones in there. And over time, I'm going to eventually know them all. I'm determined. There's like 2,000 whatever. And I'm going to know them, damn it. But yeah, speaking of Japanese stuff, that brings us pretty much onto this week's Japanese word of the week. Which is... Wait, what did I pick this week? Oh yeah, Nani? Nanny, which means what? And I feel like I've kind of done this one before. Maybe I have. I don't know. I'm 30 episodes in. I'm a veteran. I'm old. But yeah, I'm tired today. This ain't funny, but that's fine. You don't care. Right, so remember, guys, if you've got any... Oh, wait, I've got to recommend something, haven't I? Fuck, what am I going to recommend? Okay, there's a channel on YouTube called Only in Japan. Really good channel. Lots of informative videos. The guy, John Daub, who does it, he used to be on Tokyo Eye, which is a cool show if you've ever seen it on NHK World TV. Super interesting videos, things you never knew about Japan that you don't really see much of. Right, remember, guys, if you've got any questions or you want to just harass me online, you can find me on all the social medias. I'm on Facebook, Chris Hunter Comedy, YouTube, Chris Hunter Comedy, Twitter @ChrisHunterCom, which is short for comedy, and I'm on Instagram with, guess what? You guessed it, Chris Hunter Comedy. So if you like what you hear, do us a favour, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe on iTunes and a little rating if you want to. You don't have to, you probably shouldn't, but you can if you want. So thanks a lot for listening, folks. I will see you all next week. Bye-bye now.